This chapter is very interesting. Oda did set up a couple of storylines, and finally Sanji is getting the respect that he deserves. Well, kind of. Oda is continuing to introduce headliners and other important people under Kaido, but they are not doing much, they are just there to make up the numbers. It was mentioned a couple of times in this chapter that Kid has escaped. I was surprised that he did not team up with Luffy, and that way the escape will be easier. But it seems that Kid reads the manga, and he knows that Luffy cannot stick to a plan, and things always end up for the worse. This is a lesson that Law isn't learning. Well, that's what happens when you don't read the manga. I wonder how Kid did manage to escape. This prison does not seem easy to escape, and if you do something wrong, they will kill you right away. So escaping is very dangerous, and that's why I don't think Kid was gambling with his life. We did not see his crew so far, maybe they were the ones who did help Kid escape, and that's why Kid did not need Luffy's help. But I don't think Kid will run away. We'll probably see him right before the war against Kaido is about to start. He knows that he cannot do anything alone against Kaido, and since a couple of groups of people are already preparing for war, this will be his best opportunity. Anyway, Luffy does save the old man and hits the guard. I am glad that Oda did not skip this fight too. Well, if you can call this a fight. It did end in just one attack, the same as it did with the other headliners. Like I said, these guys are not doing much for the story. They are almost like extras. They are not playing a role in the story. Seeing how these fights did play out, I wonder if Oda is a fan of One Punch Man. So things did calm down and they sent Luffy and the old man to Queen. And they were sent by Old Maid. When I read his name, I thought I did not know that maid has more than one meaning. So I did Google it, and no, it has only one meaning. But since in Japan very few people know English, Oda doesn't bother that much. He's only interested about does the name sound cool. It is not just with the names, but with other things as well. One Piece is written to be appealing to Japanese readers, so a lot of things in the story are sacrificed. This is a complex topic, but if you were wondering why One Piece is number 1 in Japan, but not as popular worldwide, well, that is on purpose. That is what Oda and his team want. And it is not because there is something wrong with the story. No, far from it. The story is great, and it has everything that the story needs to be popular worldwide. One Piece maybe could have become as popular as Lord of the Rings or now Game of Thrones, but Oda chose not to, which is quite sad. Anyway, before Luffy and the old man were sent to Queen, he was performing a dance or something like that. I always did wonder why do the pirates around the world and the marines fear the Yonkos and their crews. And now we know. Did you see that dance? Is there anything scarier than a dancing pirate? That is what other pirates and the marines are lacking. They don't know how to dance. If Luffy and Kid didn't know how to dance, I am sure they would not end up in prison. But I hope they will learn the lesson sooner rather than later. I wonder what idea Queen did come up with, because that will determine how the storyline will play out. If Luffy would not hit that guard, the escape would begin in this chapter. Raizo has already found the key to the handcuffs, and this storyline will end very soon. But the battle is still a couple of days away, so Oda needs to waste more time. And because of that, I think maybe Queen will organize a tournament with the prisoners there and Luffy will take part in it as well. And if he defeats all of his opponents and wins the tournament, then Queen will spare his life even though he did hit a guard for which the penalty is death. I'm guessing that it will be a combat tournament, because it could also be a singing or dancing tournament. Anyway, those scenes in the bathhouse were legendary. When you see a character all the time, it becomes normal in your eyes, especially when they are shown in the same way all the time. So, thank you Oda for reminding us how hot Robin and Nami are. You can clearly see Oda paid attention to even the smallest details, which is not his style, because he is drawing a pirate world and not a magical world, where everything needs to be perfect and glorious. But these scenes are different. Even their facial expressions were on point. Usually Oda draws characters with mouth open or having a weird facial expression that coincides with the conversation or the scene. Anyway, Sanji finally got his wish and is able to look at women bathing, but the weird part here is that he chose a bathhouse where men and women bathe together. So his suit is useless here. But it did come in handy because it did hide his face from Nami and Robin. Because if they saw him, they would probably say to him to leave. One guy who is leaving all the time is Zoro. Who knows now when he will be reunited with the Straw Hats? It could be that he will meet them just before the battle starts against Kaido, or even in the middle of it, and make a surprise appearance. But one thing that I did find weird is that he lost his sword. At the beginning of the story when he fought Mihawk, he said the scars on the back are the swordsman's shame. Well, I think that the swordsman losing his sword is an even bigger shame. Anyway, what did you guys think about this chapter? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, like, share and subscribe for more One Piece videos, and see you in the next video.